What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another account progression video. Alright, so we're going to be getting another tier 3 character today, and it's going to be Rogue. As I mentioned with her uniform review, I wanted to get Rogue to tier 3 because I just really like Rogue, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I haven't changed her build at all yet. I'm probably going to change it a little bit later, but she's going to be like this probably for like another week or so because there's a few more tests that I want to do with Storm before I take that CTP of Rage off of her. So I'm thinking I'm going to put the CTP of Rage back on Rogue, but we're going to see how she performs today before I make that decision. So here's her build if you missed the first video. We do have some Urus on her, some Odin's Blessings. Her skills, we have them all maxed out. Her Ace Awake set, we have Overdrive just to stage 6, so I'll probably fully awaken that as well a little bit later on. And we have a CTP of Greed on her, so that's what she's rocking for right now. And the Greed actually does work pretty good for her. Of course, it doesn't compare to a CTP of Rage, but she still does some pretty nice damage with Greed because it's a nice balanced CTP for kind of offensive and defensive, because we have the heal, and then we've got the guard break immunity, which is really nice. And then we also have ignore dodge here, which is probably going to help her out quite a bit against Null. So we'll see what that does, actually. And then for her uniform, we're still sitting here at heroic because I do need to farm up some more bios before I can finish up the uniform. And yeah, as you can see, she's ready to go. Let's go ahead and take a look at her details here, though, before we advance her. We have pretty low attack speed, actually. I didn't realize that her attack speed was that low. I might have to work on that a little bit. Her crit rate is looking good. Her crit damage could be a little bit better, but it's still good. Our ignore defense, skill cooldown are max, so that's what we want to see. Her dodge right now is low, but if we switch her to a greed, or a rage, I mean, from the greed, then I'm going to get that, you know, bumped up a little bit. But this is what her stats are looking like for now, so not too shabby. So let's go ahead and advance her and see what she can do at tier 3. Time for the ultimate absorption. There we go. She's ready to go and hopefully kick some ass. So we got our tier 3 here, and let's see what it's going to do. So our tier 3 has, oh, it's got ignore dodge on it as well. So ignore dodge by 70%. 80% chance to penetrate super armor barrier, all damage immune, and invincibility. She gains invincibility for 6 seconds. She has a damage increase by 100% for one attack. And it looks like this is going to be based on lightning damage. Yeah, her tier 3 is based on lightning damage. So again, all of her skills are elemental based. So you can use a CTP of Judgment on her if you so choose. Maybe you're out of rages, or you want to give rage to someone else, because there's not, well, there's a decent amount of good elemental characters that you can give Judgment to, but she can be another one. So here we have Miss X. All right, so looking pretty good. Did that boost up our rating here at all? Look at that. Yeah, top 3,000. All right. Still a little bit more work to be done on her as well. So now that we have her freshly tier 3, let's go ahead and try her out a little bit. So we'll do some World Boss Ultimate. We'll do a few different bosses just to see what her damage looks like. So let's go ahead and hop over to that and see how she performs. Alright, so the first stop here is going to be Proxima, and I'm actually going to be doing the same stage and same team that I did with the other video of her when I was just doing the uniform review video when she was at level 70, just to kind of get a comparison to see how much more damage she's doing at tier 3. I can't remember the exact pace that she was on, but I think it was less than a little bit less than a minute, maybe at the minute mark when she got the face change for Proxima, so getting her down to what, 11 bars or something like that. So let's go ahead and see if that changes here. Well, I mean, of course it's going to change, but let's see how much it's going to change by, hopefully quite a bit. I haven't played her yet. This is my first time jumping in after tier 3ing her, so I'm not sure where I want to put the tier 3 into the rotation. The tier 3 was a pretty short animation, if I remember correctly, so I don't think you can cancel it or anything like that. I think you do need to let it play out to actually get all of the effects, but I don't know, I'll have to see. Alright, so let's go ahead, switch over to her. And what was the rotation I was using with her again? Oh yeah, all defense down here on 4, then we go into 5 for the damage, 2 to stall, we get 3 for our immunity, and then we go back into 4 and 5. And I think we're just going to pop the tier 3 right here and see what happens. Ooh. Nice. Look at that damage. Okay, that's definitely a lot faster, because I believe she was at the minute mark last time when I did this. That's like a whole 30 seconds faster. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe she was like a minute or like 45 or 50 seconds. So maybe it was at like 4 minutes and 10 seconds, maybe 4 minutes and 15 seconds. But either way, that's some pretty nice damage here at stage 70, because she's applying, what is she applying? Minus 77% all defense down. So maybe we'll see if we can go a little bit higher. I don't know if she's going to be able to do stage 89, because what is that? I think that's the max that I have. Yeah, I've never got around to finishing Proxima. Have I finished all the others? I think all my other world bosses are at 99 except for Proxima. But anyway, let's go ahead and see if she can do a stage 89 here, because I don't think a lot of my characters can. I think stage 89 is pretty difficult for most of my characters that I use, unless I can get to that minus 100%, of course, all defense down. So let's see what Rogue is doing here with this stage. See if she's, oh, well, Proxima's not attacking. No, she's standing outside of the all defense down, so this isn't really going to be a good... What? Don't we get damage immunity on the third skill? Why did we take damage there? Alright, well, anyway, let's see if we can build up a little bit here. And yes, minus 77% all defense down is just not enough. Are we stacking it all the way up? Stack 6 times? Yeah, that's enough. Okay, so she doesn't have damage immunity on the third skill. For some reason I thought she did. I guess it's on the fourth skill. But anyway, she is still doing damage here, but it's not great. When she had the rage on, I think she was actually doing pretty similar damage to this. And that was with the old uniform, so if I put rage back on her, I think she might actually be able to do quite a bit of damage here. But right now, with just a CTP of greed, it's not looking too hot for this stage at least. You saw she was decimating a stage 70, so that's kind of the difference when you start moving up in World Boss Ultimate. They just get so much more difficult and reliant on your ability to have like minus 97, 90, or in the high 90s of all defense down is what you really need for, I think, just getting into the 80s for World Boss Ultimate. Again, I don't have any like pierce stats, so that does make a huge difference. So if you've already gotten like that, just that 5% pierce, then this stage will be significantly easier for you if you have even similar attack stats to my cards in terms of the like energy attack, all attack kind of thing, or physical. Oh yeah, Rogue's damage is physical, and I have like no physical attack on my card. So that's one of the things that I was not blessed with, but I do have a pretty decent energy attack, so I guess kind of a trade-off there. Since most of the characters in the game are energy attack, I suppose that's not too terrible. So now let's go ahead and see just what kind of damage she actually does to Ebony, because Ebony, where he does take increased damage for Elemental, could start at 70 here, he takes, what's it called, reduced damage from physical attacks. So that's going to make a pretty big difference here, since Rogue is Elemental based on physical. So I'm not really sure that we're going to see great numbers here, but hopefully we'll see decent numbers. Where's Dazzler? There she is. What do we have for here? None of you have any all defense down or anything, right? Yeah, none of you do. All right, so let's hop in here. See what kind of damage we do against Ebony. Hopefully it'll still be good, because then Rogue can pretty much do any of the World Boss Ultimates that you feel like doing. Of course, you want to be focusing on Null if you can, but not everyone can do a 5 out of 5 clear for Null, so you're going to be using some of your other clears for the different World Bosses. Let's go ahead and do that. This. Okay, not bad. Cancel that out. So let's go in here. Oh yeah, one thing I do want to find out is if her tier 3 ignores iframe. So if we can use that when they're iframing. I guess the way to check is if we get Ebony to do his meteor face here. Does he do that at 12 bars or something? So we're pretty close. So let's save our tier 3 here. But as you can see, just because she's physical based for her elemental, we're doing significantly less damage than we would, of course, if she was energy attack. But it's still, alright, can we, okay, yeah, so it does ignore iframes, so that's good. So we can use her tier 3 whenever the bosses are going into like a split phase, so she'll be really good probably against Thanos, so you can do some extra damage in there when he's kind of calling in for support, or when he's calling down the meteors. You can use Rogue's tier 3 to get some damage in there, maybe push him to the next phase or something like that. So that's going to come in handy if you're fighting Thanos a little bit. But yeah, so she looks like she's going to be strong for pretty much all of the world bosses. The question is she going to be strong against Null? So we will try her out against Null really quick. So let's hop into a fight over with Null here. So let me figure out what kind of team I want to use, and I will be right back. Alright, so I played around with a few teams here just to see what would work best for Rogue, and this was the one that worked the best. Not really that surprising. We have a leadership here for physical attack, and then we have Valkyrie, which you pretty much see Valkyrie in any team against Null if you want to have a better chance of actually clearing it, because she allows so many characters to perform just better against Null. And this time, because I was trying Mystique and Valkyrie still outperformed Mystique in support, even though Mystique doesn't have a insight, Valkyrie does have an insight. We mitigated that because my Elsa here has an insight. So with Rogue, I had a CTP of insight either way, whether it was Mystique or Valkyrie slotted in, and Valkyrie was still just performing better, so it must have just been either that ignore dodge, or I think she gives an extra 5% damage against supervillains. It could have been something like that. But yeah, this was the one that works the best. I'm just using regular strikers here for damage because Rogue does have sustain. She has her own healing from her uniform. The one thing that Rogue lost with this uniform that I didn't realize until now, which isn't really affecting me because I have a CTP of greed on her, is she lost her super armor. And the super armor is very, very valuable against Null, so you don't get pushed back from that attack where he makes kind of that circle that you have to stand in front of him. Yeah, so that really helps with your time, so you don't keep getting knocked back and have to kind of run up here and then re-engage him. So that's one thing that might hurt her a little bit if I switch her over to a CTP of Rage, but her damage just isn't quite enough to take down Null here with the CTP of Greed, or if it is, it's going to be very close, because on my best run that I tried in between the recordings here, in between the clips that you're seeing, is I did get him to switch phases, or I did get him out of the throne phase here with 3 minutes remaining, but exactly 3 minutes. So I'm not sure if I just got lucky there with my greed activations, if I was playing her a little bit differently for that run, but I wasn't really able to replicate that again. So I think I just got lucky with some of my attacks there or something. Maybe I got stunned less because this tentacle here can stun you if you're not careful, and it seems to always be activating when I do not have an iframe available. So that's one thing that was, yeah, getting me a little bit of a time loss. But overall, her damage still looks good. Again, this is with the greed, and greed is only giving you a 150% damage increase. It is an activation damage increase, so of course you have that active for the entire 5 seconds, but it does have a longer cooldown than Rage or Judgment, so you should be doing more damage overall with Rage or Judgment than Greed. You know, even if your Judgment was just a 150 proc, like not fully maxed out, it should still do more damage than Greed, just because it's going to be activated longer or more often than Greed is. But as you can see here, yeah, we're really light on this run, so I'm not sure what I did on that other run differently. I might have been using the tier 3 different. I might have been trying to cancel the tier 3 a little bit. Maybe the canceling works, or maybe I'm changing the skill that I used after the tier 3. Because you get that damage increase, get the accumulation, do the tier 3. So yeah, as you can see, we're falling short here, but again, I was able to push him to the next phase at the exact 3-minute mark, so we're like 20 seconds shorter on this run here. So again, I don't know what I did differently. I must have been doing something different with my rotation, but not really sure what it was. I'll have to play around with that a little bit more, see if I find what I was doing for that particular skill rotation. But for right now, this is kind of what her damage is looking like. Again, this is still good, I think, with the CTP of Greed, because I haven't tested any other characters with the CTP of Greed to see how it really compares to maybe using like a CTP of Energy or using Rage or Judgment. I'm not sure how it compares in terms of damage to all of those other CTPs, so I don't really know what to expect here. So when I switch over to a Rage, maybe I'll see a huge increase in damage, maybe I'll just see a modest increase in damage. I'm not 100% sure just because I'm not too familiar with CTP of Greed's damage in these kind of PvE modes. So if you have more information on that, feel free to let me know in the comments below if you've noticed how well Greed generally performs for you on maybe a high DPS character compared to Rage or anything like that if you have tried it. But as you can see right here, we're really short on time. We're going to be more than a minute behind in terms of being on pace to actually clear this, because we need to switch phase. Yeah, I had to use tier 3. We need to switch phases right here. I had to just take those hits because we're so short on time. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out with her. Again, this is just my very first plays with her, so I need to probably work on her skill rotation a little bit and see what works a little bit better. But yeah, as you can see, right now we should be getting, we should be at the dragon phase, or the dragon phase should be finishing. So our damage actually fell off quite a bit after switching out of the throne phase. So I'm gonna have to play around a little bit more, see what we can do, see if I can actually get a clear with Rogue against Null here before I switch her over to Rage. But this is just a nice early showcase of my Rogue here, freshly tier 3'd with a little bit of experience playing her with this new uniform. So feel free to let me know how she's performing for you, what Obelisk or CTP you have on her. Right now, I really think that she seems more activation friendly, so Judgment and Rage versus a CTP of Energy or Proc. But let me know if there's a rotation that works with her Proc. I've tried to cancel out her tier 3, but it looks like you do lose some damage depending on how early you cancel it. So I don't think you can pass over that attack boost from the tier 3 onto like the 5th skill or something like that, for example, without losing quite a bit of damage from the tier 3 itself. But yeah, again, I'm going to try and test her out a little bit more. So it's just early impressions. So kind of take this maybe as a starting point for Rogue on what maybe her potential will be at tier 3. So far, I'm not disappointed with her performance. I do think she's a really good character. I definitely see a lot of damage potential here, and also she has great survivability because, as you can see, I have no healing strikers, and she just tanks the hits and heals back up. She's pretty much always healing, so yeah, she's got that going for her. But I am using a full team here, so we do have a CTP of Insight active. We also have Valkyrie. We do have a leadership as well. So yeah, quite a few things that I can't really improve on, but we'll see. So anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.